Salam students, and welcome back to the session. We will continue with our chapter 7, that is packing, from the Beehive, written by Jerome K. Jerome. Just a reminder, keep your book and pen handy so that you could note down. We will just do a quick recap of what we have learnt in the previous class. This is a humorous story about the confusion and mess made by inexperienced packing. The narrator and his two friends decide to go on a trip. He told them that he would do the packing. The real intention of the narrator was to supervise his friends in packing, but they relaxed as he packed. So entire packing was done by the author or the narrator. He packed the bag but forgot to put the boots inside. He was not sure whether he had toothbrush into the bag. When he unpacked, he found the toothbrush inside the boot. He had to reopen the bag as he had forgotten his spectacles inside it. So there was total confusion where he had to pack and unpack regularly because he was not able to find certain things and he had not packed things in the right way. So now let's proceed further with the lesson. They began in a light-hearted spirit, evidently intending to show me how to do it. I made no comment, I only waited. So like we had learnt, now after the main packing was done, George and Harris took up the packing of the rest of the things, that is the hampers. So here they began in a very light-hearted spirit, means in a very leisurely way. They started packing the things. And also it was seen that they were trying to show Jerome how the packing has to be done. But Jerome did not make any kind of comments. With the exception of George, Harris is the worst packer in this world. And I looked at the piles of plates and cups and kettles and bottles and jars and pies and stoves and cakes and tomatoes, etc., and felt that the thing would soon become exciting. So they had to even pack the hampers. So he considered that Harris was the worst packer in this world. Okay, he could see all the piles that were littered around, that were spread around, which included plates, cups, kettles, bottles, jars, cakes, tomatoes, and all things that were related to food which needed to be packed. So he felt that there is something really exciting coming up. It did. They started with breaking a cup. That was the first thing they did. They did that just to show you what they could do and to get you interested. So it did happen and they broke a cup there. This was the first thing they did and it was really exciting to watch them do the packing and what they could do. Then Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of a tomato and squashed it. And they had to pick out the tomato with a teaspoon. So now Harris packed the strawberry jam on top of the tomato and squashed it, means crushed it totally. It was in a totally messy condition. And they had to actually take out the tomato with a teaspoon because it is completely crushed. And then it was George's turn and he trod on the butter. I didn't say anything, but I came over and sat on the edge of the table and watched them. It irritated them more than anything I could have said. I felt that. So now George, he trod on means he stepped on the butter. And what happened after that? Jerome, he was seeing all this. He did not say anything. But then George came and sat on the edge of the table and we were watching him what happened. This irritated them and he was watching, Jerome was watching them do this, which irritated both George and Harris a lot. And he could actually feel this irritation in their faces. It made them nervous and excited, and they stepped on things and put things behind them, and they couldn't find them when they wanted them, and they packed the pies at the bottom and put heavy things on the top and smashed the pies in. So it also made them a little nervous because Jerome was continuously watching them without uttering a single word, and they were continuously stepping on things. They were putting things somewhere and searching for it, and they couldn't find that. They packed the pies at the bottom and put lot of heavy things on the top and smashed the pies too. So the condition was really messy. Everything was very messy out there. They upset salt over everything, and as for the butter, I never saw two men do more with 1 and 2 pence worth of butter in my whole life than they did. After George had got it off his slipper, they tried to put it in the kettle. So now they upset salt over everything, means they sprinkled salt over everything. Everything was in a total mess. And as for the butter which was stuck to the slippers of the two, they were trying to take it off from their slippers. And what did they do? Where did they take it off? They took it off in the kettle. They tried to clean their slippers and take off the butter and put it in the kettle. It wouldn't go in, and what was in wouldn't come out. They did scrape it out at last and put it down on a chair, and Harris sat on it, and it stuck to him, and they went looking for it all over the room. So now this was not all, it was not coming off the slipper. So they scraped it and put it on the chair. And what happened? Harris went and sat on it, and they went looking for it all over the room, searching where actually it had disappeared. I'll take my oath I put it down on that chair, said George, staring at the empty seat. I saw you do it myself not a minute ago, said Harris. Then they started round the room again looking for it, and then they met again in the center and stared at one another. So now George agreed that he had put it down on the chair, but it was not there. The seat was empty out there. And Harris also agreed, saying that he had actually seen George do the same. But they were continuously moving around the room looking for it, and they were staring at each other when they couldn't find it. Most extraordinary thing I ever heard of, said George. So mysterious, said Harris. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw it. Why, here it is all the time, he exclaimed indignantly. So he felt, George said that it was something really extraordinary, and Harris agreed, saying it was so mysterious that we can't find where actually the butter was. And as they turned around, they saw that George got around at the back of Harris and saw it. It was behind, it was out there all the time. And he exclaimed this in great anger. Indignantly means in real anger. Where? Cried Harris, spinning round. Stand still, can't you? Roared George, flying after him. And they got it off and packed it in the teapot. So now they were turning around, they found where it was, now they packed it into a teapot. They packed that into a teapot. Montmorency was in it all, of course. Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sworn at. Now, who is Montmorency? It's a pet they had with them. Not a very well-trained pet, very troublesome. His ambition was to be sworn at. Means, here it means getting scolded at, getting all the scoldings from the people. If he can swarm in anywhere where he particularly is not wanted and be a perfect nuisance and make people mad and have things thrown at his head, then he feels his day has not been wasted. Swarm in means to crawl or wriggle into something, crawling into something, whatever is available. So he used to do this where he was not actually needed. He used to do all the things that were not needed to be done. He used to make people mad, do things that shouldn't be done, was a perfect nuisance, very troublesome. And people used to hurl things at him and throw things on his head. Only then he used to feel that his day was not wasted. He used to enjoy being scolded at and creating lot of problems. To get somebody to stumble over him and curse him steadily for an hour is his highest aim and object. And when he has succeeded in accomplishing this, his conceit becomes quite unbearable. So he enjoys troubling others. So anybody who stumbles and falls over, or somebody who curses him steadily or scolds him, he feels really happy. That is his highest aim. Also, when he has succeeded in accomplishing this task, his conceit, that is his pride, becomes very unbearable. So he enjoys troubling the people. He came and sat down on things just when they were wanted to be packed. And he labored under the fixed belief that whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, it was his cold, damp nose that they wanted. So he used to go and sit out on everything that was already packed and they wanted to do the packing. He would move in between, crawl into them and trouble them so that everything is disturbed. So whenever Harris or George reached out for something, he used to get in the middle and they felt his nose always coming in between. He put his leg into the jam and he worried the teaspoons and he pretended that the lemons were rats and got into the hamper and killed 3 of them before Harris could land him with a frying pan. So Montmorency was so troublesome. He was running about. He put his leg into the jam. He was playing with the teaspoons and he thought that the lemons were rats. So tried to kill them. He started jumping, getting into the hamper, getting into the basket and squashed them. So he felt that he had actually killed the rats. And finally Harris hit him with a frying pan. He came running after him with a frying pan. Harris said, I encouraged him. I didn't encourage him. a dog like that doesn't want any encouragement. It's the natural, original sin that is born in him that makes him do things like that. The packing was done at 12:50 and Harris sat on the big hamper and said he hoped nothing would be found broken. So Harris said that Jerome had actually encouraged him, but he hadn't done anything to the dog. He hadn't encouraged it at all. This was something that is inborn and natural in him, and he wants things to be as he pleases. But however, finally, after all this mess and all this trouble, the packing was done at 12:50. And now Harris sat on the big hamper and suddenly felt that he hoped nothing was found broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken, which reflection seemed to comfort him. He also said he was ready for bed. We were all ready for bed. Harris was to sleep with us that night and we went upstairs. So George said that if anything was broken now, it's okay, let it be broken. This thought itself comforted him. And they were all ready to go to bed because they needed to wake up and move for the trip the next morning. So they all went to sleep. We tossed for beds and Harris had to sleep with me, he said. Do you prefer the inside or the outside, Jay? I said I generally prefer to sleep inside a bed. Harris said it was odd. So now again there were confusion related to the beds. So Harris had to sleep with the narrator. So he also asked whether he wanted to sleep inside or outside. He said he would prefer sleeping inside. George said, "What time shall I wake you fellows?" Harris said, 7. I said no, 6 because I wanted to write some letters. So now they were deciding on what time they need to wake up. So George said that George asked them what time we need to wake up and Harris decided on 7. However, the narrator said that he wants to wake up at 6 as he had to write some letters. Harris and I had a bit of row over it, but at last split the difference and said 6:30. Wake us at 6:30, George, we said. So now they had a little argument over it as to when they have to wake up. So finally they came to a compromise, that is split the difference means come to some kind of an agreement halfway, and they decided to wake up at 6:30. So they asked George to wake them up at 6:30. George made no answer and we found on going over that he had been asleep for some time. So we placed the bath where he could tumble into it on getting out in the morning and went to bed ourselves. So finally we found that George was already asleep because there was no answer. And we placed a bath where he could tumble in. He used to sleep probably a lot. So they even kept a bath beside him so that as soon as he wakes up, he is into it. And they both went to bed themselves. They both went to sleep for waking up early the next morning. So we see here that how the three friends, what kind of troubles, what kind of things, problems they faced just to do a packing for a small trip. So we need to remember that we need some kind of an expertise to do even packing. The art of packing is not as simple as we think. So now what is the message that we get from this chapter, or what we learn, is that the chapter humorously describes the do's and don'ts of packing. What we need to do, what we need to plan out before we do the packing, and what we shouldn't be doing. We need to know both. Also, packing should not be treated as a simple or silly activity, but as a serious task that involves concentration and deftness. In the sense, you need to be very alert. You have to take it as a serious task, not just consider it very easy. You have to focus and concentrate, make a list of things that you need to carry for your trip, and accordingly do your packing. Otherwise, you would land in trouble. Also, if there is a pet around, it can create even more trouble. So we need to take care of all these things when we are planning for a trip. This is what the message or what lesson we learn from this chapter. So now students, here we have some value points that you need to remember about the lesson. Just go through them, or you can make a note of them. About the three friends, what they did, what kind of problems they had, what they missed when they were packing. Also, packing and repacking things many times can actually lead to a lot of things where you may forget many things which needs to be carried. So how Jerome, George and Harris did their packing, how they messed up everything when they were packing the things. The dog, that is the pet dog Montmorency, also what kind of problem it created. So we need to have well-trained pets if we have them at home. How he sat on the things and destroyed everything, destructed everything. Finally, when the packing ended very late at night, they decided to go to sleep. It was very late. So even when they went to sleep, they had an argument. So they were decided to wake up in the morning and move for the trip. So this is the basic things you need to remember in this particular lesson. Go through the lesson and understand every bit of it. Now you'll be getting a link where you have to answer the questions given and submit the same on that particular link. Thank you.